What if the next world war doesn't begin on land, sea, or air, but silently above your head, while the world watches missiles and fighter jets? The United States and Israel are already dominating the ultimate battlefield, space. And China, according to analysts, it may have realized the truth too late. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today's reality may shock you. While global attention focuses on tanks rolling across borders and jets screaming through contested airspace, the most decisive battlefield is completely invisible. Above your cities, above your armies, and above your governments, military satellites are silently deciding who wins wars before the first shot is fired. The United States and Israel have quietly built one of the most advanced orbital military networks in human history. These satellites do not just observe, they command, predict, intercept, and guide destruction with precision measured in centimeters. China, despite massive investment, is struggling to match the integration, combat experience, and real-time dominance achieved by this alliance. Space is no longer a support domain. It is the command center of modern warfare. Whoever controls orbital intelligence controls missile accuracy, drone strikes, cyber warfare timing, and battlefield awareness. This is not science fiction. This is happening now, and the imbalance forming above Earth could redefine global power for decades. What you are about to hear explains why China reportedly did not see this coming, and why space supremacy may decide the future of global conflict. Military satellites are no longer passive observers taking images from orbit. Modern American and Israeli satellites operate as interconnected combat systems. Reconnaissance satellites identify targets, early warning satellites detect missile launches within seconds, and communications satellites ensure uninterrupted command even during cyber or electronic warfare attacks. This layered system allows US and Israeli forces to respond faster than any rival. In contrast, China's satellite network, while growing rapidly, faces challenges in redundancy, real-time combat integration, and operational experience under active conflict conditions. The United States has tested its space architecture in multiple real-world wars, while Israel has refined satellite-based targeting through constant regional threats. The result is a battle-proven orbital infrastructure that does not collapse under pressure. Satellites now guide hypersonic weapons, missile defense interceptors, and autonomous systems. They form a digital shield and sword combined. Without satellite dominance, even the most advanced weapons become blind. This is why space is no longer a background advantage. It is the foundation of military superiority itself. One of the most critical advantages held by the US-Israel alliance is early warning dominance. Infrared detection satellites can spot missile launches within seconds, allowing defense systems to activate almost instantly. Israel's missile defense success relies heavily on this orbital layer, while the United States extends this capability globally. China has developed early warning satellites, but analysts note gaps in global coverage and integration speed. In modern warfare, seconds matter. A delay of even 30 seconds can mean the difference between interception and catastrophe. These satellites also track hypersonic glide vehicles, one of the most complex challenges in defense today. By combining space-based sensors with AI-driven analysis, the US and Israel can predict trajectories faster than rivals. This creates strategic deterrence. When adversaries know their attacks will be seen and neutralized, their options shrink. Space dominance doesn't just protect, it discourages aggression before it begins. Intelligence fusion is where this dominance becomes overwhelming. Satellites feed data into AI systems that merge imagery, signals intelligence, radar tracking, and cyber indicators into one real-time operational picture. American and Israeli command centers can see entire regions update live, tracking troop movements, naval deployments, and missile preparations simultaneously. China's systems are advancing, but integration across services and real-time battlefield feedback remains a challenge. Experience matters. Israel has refined this fusion through constant high-threat scenarios, while the US has perfected global, scale coordination. The result is decision-making at a speed that overwhelms traditional command structures. Wars are now won by those who decide faster, not those who simply possess more weapons. Another critical factor is satellite survivability. US and Israeli satellites are designed with redundancy, maneuverability, and rapid replacement capabilities. If one satellite is disrupted, others immediately compensate. This resilience ensures continuity of command even under attack. China has invested heavily in anti-satellite weapons, but targeting a distributed, layered constellation is far more complex than disabling a single asset. Space dominance today is not about invulnerability, it is about endurance. The side that stays operational longest controls escalation. This strategic depth gives Washington and Tel Aviv an edge that cannot be easily neutralized. Communication satellites form the nervous system of modern militaries. Secure, encrypted links allow forces to operate across continents without interruption. US and Israeli systems are hardened against jamming and cyber intrusion, ensuring continuity in contested environments. China has made strides in quantum communication experiments, but large-scale deployment remains limited. In a real conflict, reliable communication determines coordination, morale, and operational success. When satellites maintain connectivity under pressure, armies remain cohesive. When they fail, chaos follows. Navigation satellites may seem mundane, but they are decisive. Precision, guided weapons, autonomous drones, and synchronized operations depend on accurate positioning and timing. The US-led navigation ecosystem underpins global military logistics. Israel leverages this precision for surgical operations with minimal error margins. China's alternatives exist, but interoperability and combat-tested reliability still favor the US-Israel axis. Precision wins wars with fewer resources and faster outcomes. Psychological impact is often overlooked. Knowing that every movement is observed from orbit changes strategic behavior. Space dominance imposes caution, hesitation, and restraint on adversaries. China's leadership understands this reality. When orbital surveillance leaves no blind spots, secrecy disappears. Deterrence shifts from nuclear threats to information dominance. Control what the enemy sees, and you control how they act. The future battlefield will expand further into space. Autonomous satellites, AI-controlled sensor networks, and rapid-launch orbital assets will define the next era. The US and Israel are already moving in this direction, focusing on adaptability and integration rather than sheer numbers. China is accelerating development, but catching up requires more than technology. It requires doctrine, experience, and trust across systems. Space power is cumulative, and late entry carries long-term disadvantages. Space supremacy is no longer optional. It is the decisive layer that determines who controls information, timing, and outcomes. The United States and Israel have built an orbital architecture that transforms space into a command domain. China is responding rapidly, but the gap remains significant. The next global crisis may be decided long before headlines appear, by satellites silently orbiting Earth, shaping outcomes without a single visible explosion. If you want deep, unbiased analysis on modern warfare, space power, and global military intelligence, subscribe to Warvex Intelligence, like this video, and share it with those who want to understand how wars are truly won today.